Sigmund Freud is considered to be the founding father of psychoanalysis and one of those who changed the way human behavior was looked at and analyzed. His theories have paved the way for us to understand the complicated relationships that humans develop and also means to cope up with the resulting complexities. It may come as a surprise to many that in his younger days, while struggling to make a name, young Freud was looking for a breakthrough. And that came through when he accidentally got to know about a new drug called cocaine in a journal named Therapeutic Gazette. Interestingly, cocaine provided Freud the ticket to fame in the world of academic medicine. He got hold of this seemingly magical drug in 1884 and was paid $24 to endorse it. Freud wasted no time and immediately began his self-experimentation by consuming it in small doses regularly, all in the name of science. Within a year, Freud published a paper called Über Coca, where he explained how cocaine was successful in the treatment of depression and indigestion. Little did Freud realize then that cocaine had become his addiction. Freud was so enamored by cocaine that he even wrote about how the drug was creating an impact on his thinking to his fiancée, Martha Bernays. I quote, "In my last severe depression, I took coca again, and a small dose lifted me to the heights in a wonderful fashion. I am just now busy collecting the literature for a song of praise to this magical substance." Unquote. It did not take long for Freud to not only become an enthusiastic user of cocaine, but also its promoter. It is claimed by many that Freud distributed the drug amongst his friends so aggressively that a close friend, Fleschel Marxow, first became an addict and then died due to an overdose of cocaine. The author of the book, Cocaine, an Unauthorized Biography, Dominic Stretfield wrote, I quote, "If there is one person who can be held responsible for the emergence of cocaine as a recreational pharmaceutical, it was Freud." Unquote. Scott Oliver, in an article, A Brief History of Freud's Love Affair with Cocaine, writes about an incident where Sigmund Freud, while trying to treat a woman for hysteria under the influence of cocaine, almost killed her. Freud later on wrote about this incident in his book, The Interpretation of Dreams. Sigmund Freud was also a chain smoker. It is said that he smoked around 20 cigarettes each day, eventually developing mouth cancer. Freud went under the knife for the same a whopping 33 times, but he still did not give up on smoking. Freud had controversial relationships with women. According to the historian Peter J. Swalis, who studied Freud's writings, the psychologist had an affair with his wife's sister, Minna Bernays. Though one cannot be sure, yet it is rumored that Minna Bernays was pregnant with Freud's child and had to abort it. Mr. Swalis, a self-taught independent Freud scholar and researcher, made these assertions in a lecture at the Clinical Psychology program of New York University on 22nd November 1981. However, there are many psychologists and analysts who think otherwise and opine that Freud must just have fantasized a sexual relationship with his sister-in-law. Kendra Cherry, in the article Freud's Perspective on Women, writes how Freud's views on women stirred controversy. Women oppose change, receive passively, and add nothing of their own, he wrote in a 1925 paper entitled The Cyclical Consequences of the Anatomic Distinction Between the Sexes. Freud himself admitted that he hardly understood women. He wrote in 1933, I quote, "That is all I have to say to you about femininity. It is certainly incomplete and fragmentary and does not always sound friendly. If you want to know more about femininity, inquire about your own experiences of life, or turn to poets, or wait until science can give you deeper and more coherent information." Unquote. Over the years, Freud has been accused of faking the files of his patients to fit and prove his theories. For example, most of his patients in the mid-1890s were reported with early childhood abuse, for which he proposed a theory, the seduction theory, where mental illness was related to those abuses. But immediately afterwards, in just a couple of years, Freud changed his theory and offered a conclusion that his patients weren't sexually abused and their memories of it were mere concocted fantasies. Freud, though called by many as the father of psychotherapy, could hardly be considered a healthy, balanced man with high morals and pleasing behavior. If he was practicing today, he would surely be robbed of his license and questioned for his dubious behavior. While some of Freud's theories may seem quite wild, yet the fact remains that the field of psychology today would not be what it is without his influence and early work.